Yo, what up, T?
What's up, Josh?
How you doing, man?
Good, man. What's happening?
I'm doing well. Got my our co-host, Joey Sears on the phone, looping the links of French Lick. What's up, Joey?
Nothing much, man. What's up with you guys? Y'all doing all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Missing. We got an empty chair right here with your name on it.
That's right.
Whenever you come back around. Yeah, but welcome back to Loopers for Life. This is game 11. We're excited to recap a lot of things that have happened in the golfing world here, and really proud to be, powered by Talgrace Marketing and Media.
That's right.
This studio right here, again, kind of separates a lot of regular podcasts because we can go on YouTube and look like we're pros.
That's
so,
right.
That's what it's all about, T.
Right.
Yes, sir. And I got my other
we
co-host.
can fake it well, right?
Yes, he is our co-host and producer and the man himself, Cousin T-Rock from the block, with all of his fantasy picks coming at the end of this podcast. But I am really loud in my headphones, too.
I got you.
Huh? There you go. Oh, hey, check. Now I can hear nobody. But, mic check 1, 2. So, Joey, tell me what's going on in your world, buddy.
Nothing much, man. Just living the life, man. Had actually put down a bet on Matthew Wolff for the U.S. Open, and I thought I was going to about $4,000.
I saw that text, man. You were looking good there for a second. Joey.
That whole U.S. Open thing was another good showing from Loopers for Life, I have to say.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, we were all over the leaderboard. We got to recap what's going on in the golf world, and we have to start with the U.S. Open for sure. But then there was also some really big news that's exciting, especially for all the Kentucky golf fans, with Justin Thomas being the number 1 selection for the U.S. Olympic team this year in Tokyo, and we're going to definitely talk about that. And then also the sending of a new number 1 in the world on the women's golf side, and that is Nelly Korda becoming only the 3rd American since the World Golf Rankings took over in 2006 or 2005, wherever they started ranking the women's game, which I don't understand how that wasn't done before. But anyways, only the 3rd American female to become number 1 player in the world. So it was a lot of things that were going on right there. But
did you see the bet that the London guy made that he won almost $2 million
on this past weekend and on Harris English?
Well, yeah, but so what he did is he parlayed all these winners. So he had Victor Hovland, then he had Nelly Korda, and then he had English to win. So he was able to kind of parlay all those together, and he won almost $2 million. Wow. Pretty incredible.
That is incredible.
I gotta admit, I've gotten to where I'm actually enjoying the sport. We need sport betting in Kentucky, obviously.
Oh,
but I
for sure.
enjoy going across the river and just laying down some bets for golf. It makes it a whole lot. I mean, I'm not betting a bunch of money, just $10 here, $10 there. So maybe I think I had $30 bet. I think I had $40 bet.
Yeah, Matt Wolff was a great pick too.
It was a great pick.
That was a good. You got to make good odds.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to win $4,000 on him because I bet him twice. And then I had Hovland, who obviously, got sand in his eye. And then I had Rahm, so I got my money back.
Yeah, well, Rahm was definitely the story of the week at the U.S. Open. I mean, well, there was a couple of stories, but when you look at it, I mean, coming into it, the COVID protocol that happened at Memorial 2 weeks prior, him being able to be there, with his family for the first time at a place to where, he got his first win on the PGA Tour, at a place where he married his wife, and at a place to where we all knew going into that tournament that the Journeyman Pro was going to be up on the leaderboard, because that's what happens when you go to golf courses where people are playing. But his win that week was incredible. I mean, to see him birdie the 71st and the 72nd hole, and how the drama, really kind of played out. And Torrey Pines as a golf course was really a great test of golf. I mean, it was an exciting tournament.
I think it was the best U.S. Open I've watched in years. I mean, maybe since Hal Irwin did the loop around the green with a high five.
That was a big putt. That was at Medina. Yes, sir. Up in Chicago. That was a big putt. One of my favorite. He's one of my favorite golfers.
Oh, Hal Irwin.
I mean, he's always been one of the best golfers to ever play the game that does not get the respect
at all.
He was a U.S. Open champion. I mean, we could have a whole show dedicated to this guy.
Yeah, for sure.
He was definitely one of my favorites. Oh yeah, he played football. He was all conference defensive back at Colorado. I mean, and so
you wouldn't know it by looking at him. Not with them glasses he had. Back
oh man, but dude, he won on golf courses that were big, and that was a big moment. And you're right on that. I mean, there was some drama. What do you think about that, there, T?
So I saw Danny Barron make a post saying that the golf gods we're gonna
a few weeks back. Yes,
yeah. I forget exactly what he said, but something about the golf gods are gonna take care of Rahm. He's gonna get him a U.S. Open. I was like, I was sitting there kind of thinking in my head, yeah, he's playing the best right now, but I didn't think that going through all that would set him up to win. But man, I tell you what, you know what I think? I think that dude can putt.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
grief, can he putt?
Oh yeah,
man, those last 2 putts he made were just incredible.
Well, you know, go ahead, Joey.
Oh, they were totally incredible. I mean, that's the reason why I bet him. I just thought just redemption for the U.S. Open.
You know, as I was sitting there watching it, and I mean, you know, and he can putt, and I mean, and they were incredible. But as the tournament played out, he was pushing every putt. Yeah. And he was leading up to that. And it was on 17, it was the first putt that he had that was a left to right breaker.
Right.
And he was missing everything on the other side of the hole. And I was sitting on the couch, and as my son is my witness, who is not in this room, but I turned around and I looked at that dude. I said, this is his first left to right putt. There's a great chance he's going to make this. And then,
so you said it before he hit it.
Oh yeah, and then he wrote it in. Now, and the what was really spectacular about what happened is the decision that he made on the 18th hole, playing out of the bunker, to just play sideways and not take on the risk of hitting it at the flag, going, you know, that would have led down to the potential of, you know, bleeding it into the pond. And he absolutely went with the conservative play, 20 feet to the right of the flagstick, because he knew he could keep it on that tier. And guess what he had? Another left to right breaker.
Yeah, and I tell you what, that wasn't an easy putt, especially in that situation. Unbelievable.
No, but it was a historic putt because it was somewhat on that same hole location. I mean, think about that hole location when you go to Torrey Pines. What would you do if the flag's on the back, over on the front left? I mean, that's the fun hole location where you can kind of bring the ball back down the hill, but you know that you're going over and you're putting a tee down, or you got one of those little fake holes in your golf bag and you're throwing it down right there with that hole location, and you're hitting 2 putts.
Right.
You're going to start with Tiger Woods' 15-footer, and then you're going to go hit Jon Rahm's 22-footer. And I mean, and what a historic moment for the U.S. Open to have that at a golf course that really, you know, as we talked about, I mean, it's just it's a tour stopper.
I was very surprised Oosthuizen didn't get another birdie coming in. I thought I didn't think it was going to be enough for Rahm. I really didn't. And then he just, I don't know.
Joey, what did you think about Paul Azinger's comments on 17 when Oosthuizen hit it in the thing, and he was like, "Hey man, you had the whole, just hit it over in the balconies of those houses."
Right.
What did you think about that, Joey?
I don't know. Azinger sometimes he gets a little goofy on TV sometimes.
He can never go wrong.
He said a couple things. Didn't he say something about these guys are choking or something?
Well, he's always going to say that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Do you think there's like a effort to replace who is the Johnny Miller? I mean,
I miss Johnny Miller.
I mean, wow, Johnny Miller was great.
I miss Johnny Miller. He was awesome.
Johnny Miller. Johnny Miller like Johnny Miller.
Hold on, y'all miss Johnny Miller?
I do. I thought Johnny Miller was great.
I used to mute the TV when Johnny
Really?
Miller.
Is that right? Well, you have said it before, which is interesting. You talking about making the sports bets and all that you never even kept up with the PGA Tour outside the majors.
Yeah,
and
he did
now,
say that.
you know, now that we got this weekly show and podcast and giving out fantasy insights and I mean, really, we're giving out fantasy money. I mean, you know,
we are, if you're paying attention.
Could have won $1 million.
Well, I know. Well, here's the thing. I mean, you know, just keep on talking about the U.S. Open. I mean, I'll just have to highlight one of my picks. I mean, you know, I pulled out Bubba Watson,
which was incredible.
How
you pulled that?
How do you pull Bubba Watson out? You know how I pulled Bubba Watson out?
I want to know.
He was on my radar as the guys that have won on that golf course before.
Okay, well that makes sense.
So you know, but he won there in 2012. I'll go back on my notes and I'm like, all right, 2011 is when he won on that golf course.
Right.
So I was driving home and just checking in on my dad, and I'm like, hey, I haven't watched any part of this golf tournament. And I was like, I even picked out Bubba Watson. I was like, he was like, well, he's third. And that was on Friday, Joey.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. That was a great pick.
Yeah, that was a good pick, man. That was a good pick.
Well, I mean, you know, these guys are making cuts and they're doing it, but you know, the whole John Rahm thing. I mean, you know, it just kind of circling back and what, you know, Mr. 220 himself, Mr. Barron, had to say about him is that was pure karma, and
It was.
have his family
It's a really
there,
good point. Yeah.
and have have that connection to Phil Mickelson too,
Right.
coming right off of it. You know, with John playing for Tim, his brother at Arizona State, and then and Phil coming out and just sitting around and being the first guy that gave John Rahm the post round or post championship.
I thought that was kind of cool of Phil, honestly.
Well, especially, I mean, that was a lot of pressure for Phil to win. I mean, and I think that now you'll see, and here's another great thing that happened in golf that goes to this point. But right now, you're going to see these guys like Phil who are 50 and fit, they're going to contend. I mean, golf can be played forever. There was a 70-year-old that just qualified for the senior Champions Tour event. Went through the Monday qualifier.
70.
He's 70 years old. Shot 65.
Jeez.
Qualified for whatever tournament the champions are playing
Right.
this week. So
That's awesome.
I mean,
Now, you talking about Dick Mass, correct?
yeah. Did you read that story?
Yeah. Toby Fields used to be his caddy. Toby won the Kentucky High School Golf Championship in '86.
there you
Toby
go.
was
That's why we have Joey.
Toby
There you
was,
go.
Toby was Dick Mass's caddy for a long time back in the day.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously this guy, he played on, when you look at his record, I mean, he was a journeyman for sure, right?
Right.
But I mean, 70 years old, going out and shooting 65 and qualifying for a major event. I mean, that's a feat. And what Phil has done, I think, and the reason why I say this, I mean, as a PGA champion, I mean, he's going to have 5 more years into the U.S. Open, and some of these golf courses coming up are historic golf courses, and they will be played at Oakmont next year. The year after is going to be at L.A. Country Club, which is, I mean, he's a Southern California kid. He's probably played many times, so it looks like it's going to be great to see Phil be in those things. And I think that when you hit the ball as far as he does, you're always going to be able to contend, right?
You activate those calves.
Right. I mean,
Those guys.
got to do it. Well, Oosthuizen, let's go back to Oosthuizen and we'll jump off this and we'll move on to our next topic. Oosthuizen has now finished, boys, runner-up in all 4 majors. He is one of only 8 players in the world to have that claim.
His swing is so good. I love the way back when he won the British Open way back when you remember that, and Joey, who was his caddy then? Because he had that was a weird caddy deal.
He had his. It was a countryman.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a black caddy.
Right.
And he was a countryman to him, and that was there was something going on too in the world.
Yeah, I forget what it was. I remember he had a caddy situation there that was neat. I just think he has one of the best swings in golf, and the guy's temperament's incredible. This dude can play.
Hard to believe that it didn't hold up on the 17th hole. I mean, he hit a
totally
piss poor
agree.
drive.
He did choke.
It was a piss poor drive. I mean, you can hit it in, like Azinger said, you could have hit it anywhere. He just needed to make par there because all he needed was
Hit
a
it in
birdie.
grandstand, baby.
Right, yeah. I mean, he could not, and it bounced left, but he pulled it. And he's a fader of the ball, so, I mean, that was the trouble. But, I mean, was on the left side. He's... I mean, they're all long out there. I mean,
but he's not super long.
No, he's not hitting it like Phil Mickelson,
right.
For sure. I mean, he's pumping it out there near the 300-yard line.
Gotcha.
And I mean, and so that by today's measures, no. I mean, and he is a great swinger of the golf club. But
absolutely.
This year during critical times, and that happened down in New Orleans when him and his boy was partnered in that thing, and he knocked it in the lake in the playoff on the 18th hole. I mean, and so under the gun, he has not hit the quality shots that he's accustomed to. But, with that being said, he also finished second at the PGA Championship and second at the U.S. Open. And the birdie that he made and the decision that he made on the 18th hole where, it was either go for it or try to lay up. I think that, he made a good play. He probably could have been a little bit more aggressive to the bunker and try to make it from the bunker. I would have rather seen that, but out of that lie, apparently that brought the water into play,
right?
And you can't do that. So I mean, I'll give him props for him and his caddy for doing the work to put it in there. And I mean, and it was great to see him make that putt too.
Yeah. I'll go back to what Danny said. The golf karma gods were shining down on Rahm that day.
That's right. I mean, there was too much
Absolutely.
good mojo. I mean, too much good mojo. So let's go on to another topic, and let's talk about this past weekend. Nelly Korda is ascending to number one in the world, and also, winning her first major. And that was played at Atlanta Athletic Club, which has numerous ties to the game of golf. Obviously, Bobby Jones specifically. Did you watch any of that interview? I know you were on the beach.
I was
were
on the beach.
vacationing.
Yeah.
And
was you on vacation?
Yeah. Well, we were playing in a baseball tournament down in Panama City Beach.
Oh.
So
vacation is about as vacation as
that's
T
about
can
as
get.
vacation as I can get. Right.
Yeah.
Doing something.
Well,
I
I'll
know
tell
it.
you what,
Have you ever just sat down and chilled, T?
No.
Never.
It's not in
Can
my
you sit
DNA.
on the beach? Can you sit on the beach and just
No.
no?
No. We when I was on the beach, we were doing wiffle ball or boogie boarding or something.
I mean, you're like
No.
you're
I don't-
the
it's
you're
not
the
my
party
DNA.
man. I mean, dude, it is not in your DNA.
It's not.
I agree. What about you, Joey? Did you get a chance to catch any of that golf?
Yeah, actually, I love the Korda sister swings, and they coming up through the Symetra Tour, which is played up at French Lick. Obviously, they're on their pictures are on the trailer that gets brought up there every year. I love watching those two girls swing. I caught a little bit of it, not a whole lot of it, but it's pretty exciting to see her. I think her and her sister both are just going to kind of dominate on the
Well, how good is that? I mean, how good is that to have America back at top of the world right there, and
Yeah.
especially with the women's game? And I mean, it's such a movement that has been happening with golf over the last 10 years, with girls,
Yeah.
playing all these other sports that they have played 10 years prior that was, not there. Now these girls are bringing their athleticism to golf, and and they're gonna, it's great to see. I mean, and
I actually,
huge fan of her
I know
swing
I
too.
talk about I don't watch a whole lot of golf. I actually will sit down and watch a ladies tournament probably more than
Oh,
a
for
man
sure.
tournament.
Why is
'Cause I
that
just
though?
think I'll be honest with you, I think they finesse around the golf course much better. Obviously they've gotten better looking than since the 70s.
Of course,
Throw that
Joey.
in there, Joey.
There's the single guy in you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm looking for a date. That's why I was gonna get a bag and a date.
But no, I've seen some of them come up through the Symetra Tour. I've caddied, a little bit on the LPGA stuff, but to be honest with you, I just think their swings are just so much. It's like watching figure skating.
Well,
Women's figure skating,
and they're relevant to the average Joe player. The Johnny Handicapper who is a 15. I mean, these girls would wax them by 20.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? But when you watch them play, they play from the same yardages.
Yeah.
Their short game is really def, and that's
their
where
short game are crazy.
yeah,
Their
and
short game
just as a golf professional, and when I was a club professional, I was always amazed at like watching women's golf tournaments, and watching Mrs. Jones, who's a 25 handicapper, go down and and just play and actually win her flight with a net 64 or something like that.
Right.
But I mean,
Right.
it was just right down the middle of the fairway, right down the middle of the fairway, right down the middle of the fairway. Hey, I'm in front of the green. I'll make bogey. Chip it up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
boom. And then they move on and they do it again and they do it again. And the short games, not nearly the same level as what the Korda sisters are, the LPGA standard.
Right.
But, the resurrection of American golf on the women's side is just a huge, huge move. And I think,
Oh, I love it.
I tell you who had a big to do with that, Michelle Wie. Michelle Wie,
Oh,
when she won the
yes.
U.S. Women's Open at Pinehurst, that was a big monumental shift in the game of the golf for America. That's where I think that you have, you've seen the girls like Christy Kerr and Stacey Lewis. They were the former number one players in the world, but they are only there for a short time. I will be willing to bet that you will see Nelly Korda there or her sister
long time.
overtake her, for quite
Yes.
some time. Now that
Yeah.
she's won a major, I mean, watch out. She's only 22, right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, here was a conversation between a few friends of mine and a guy who won the club championship at a club here in Louisville. He claimed that he could beat any of these girls on the LPGA tour because he'd won a club championship somewhere. And my buddy, the next time we were around, my buddy said, we were sitting down having some drinks, and they brought up what he brought up, and he was sitting at the table. And I turned to the guy and I said, "Tell you what I'll do. I'll empty my bank account, and I will put you against any girl out there on the Symetra Tour, and you're not going to beat them.
Right.
They'll beat you 7 out of 10 times."
Right.
And I said, obviously they ain't going to beat you playing the back tees, but they'll probably still beat you from the mid tees. I said, the only way that you're going to beat any one of these ladies would be if they grew the rough up like 5 inches, because they're not strong enough. So a lot of them are strong enough to get the
And
ball
he
on.
still wouldn't beat him. I mean, at that level,
And
those girls
yeah.
would be able to say, "Hey, I'm going to take your money too," and they'll take a
Yeah.
$1,000
Because
payment.
they're
Right.
not going to miss. They're not going to miss the fairway, so they don't have to worry about being.
The best is always
but,
when you hear those stories about guys, but like, "Oh, I could play that girl. I'd make Bellarmine's."
No.
I would play a girl. She plays at Bellarmine. She's no good. This, that, and the other. I'm like, dude, you would get drugged by
No.
that girl. So don't even
And-
talk about that.
And let's face it. I mean, look. You're not beating these girls. They're just that damn good.
They are
and
good.
That's just end of story. I mean, you might beat the girl who, is barely struggling out there. But I told the guy, I said, 7 out of 10 times this girl's waxing your butt.
Well,
And he still wanted to argue with me about it. I was like, man, this look.
I mean, two things that you bring up. I mean, the Symetra Tour, which, I mean, they're here in near Louisville this week. They're playing at French Lick up at the Donald Ross Golf Course. And, a lot of great stars are playing right now that you can go
Yes.
and take a 90-minute ride up to French Lick and be able to go see the future of the game. And
it costs you
at a
$5.
golf course that is one of the best in
Yeah.
our area. So,
Yes.
props for them for hosting major tournaments still. I mean, their history in the game of golf at French Lick is, they've always been around, hosted a PGA championship, done the senior PGA at the Dow course, and now they've partnered with the Symetra Tour. So it's really cool to have them, on board with the golf there, and the proximity to the Louisville area for fans, golf fans, to be able to go up and see that play. But
And that tournament's getting moved to the Dia course starting next year.
oh, is it really?
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
if I'm not mistaken.
but let's go back to what you said about Nelly. I mean, and Jessica. I mean, they both have fantastic swings. They have a very athletic family. I mean, one of their brothers is a tennis player on the tour.
dad
This
was
said
too.
dad or something. But Nelly goes back-to-back wins. And then in the second one last week at the major at the KPMG, PGA Championship, she went 19 under par instead of 72 hole scoring record. So that's at Atlantic Athletic Club, which is like I said, a great golf course, has deep roots into the game of golf. So congratulations to her. It's great to see her back on, or America back on top. I mean, and that's I do love the women's game.
She did the same thing Justin Thomas did. Now she's the number 1 qualifier for the Olympics now.
Yes, she is. So I mean, and that's kind of our next topic, which I think is we got to spend a good 5 minutes or so here with Justin Thomas, Louisville's own.
Yep.
Number 1 in the United States of America for the Olympic team.
He's the number 2 guy, so it's Rahm then Thomas.
Right.
And then it's 3 more USA guys. It's Morikawa, Schauffele, DeChambeau.
Right.
And then McIlroy, Hovland, Matsuyama, Casey.
Top 15 are in. Top 15
Answer.
in the world are in. And so that's like America has 4 spots. That's the most spots that you can have.
Yep.
That's the most. So we have 4 out of the top 15. I think there's on the ladies' side. I know we hit the same thing, which is really cool about the women's. On the women's side, you got Nelly Korda at number 1, Lexi Thompson 2, Danielle King at 3, and then Jessica Korda making the team on 4th. And again, that was based on being in the top 15 in the world.
Oh, that's cool. So both the
They're
Kordas are
the
in it.
only other country that has the other 4 of the top 4 or top 15 is North Korea. Or South Korea, excuse me.
Right.
North Korea doesn't have any golf courses. They got Jung Young Kim though.
They do. Watch out.
but I mean, and wait till all that kind of goes. I mean, he's doing something over the month, and I hope and pray this does not come true. But I could see him flaring up some missiles over the next few weeks to get ready for the Olympics. I mean, because it's always shot into the Sea of Japan, and he's always pushing the needle on. That's another topic.
We
Let's
just need
not
to send
get there.
Dennis Rodman over there to hang out with him.
Dennis Rodman ought to just do. He's probably like James Bond over there, you know. He probably just.
I'm starting to think we need to elect him. I'm starting to think we need to elect him as the next president.
There you go. There you go.
The Olympic team. I mean, you know, a few years back when golf first came to the Olympics, there was tons of players decided not to play. You know, the biggest one was Rory McIlroy not playing because he had to make a decision whether he was going to play for Northern Ireland or Britain or Ireland, and it was kind of an ordeal for him, and he decided, and he skipped. You know, and Justin Rose won that tournament, and you know, he ranks it up there as one of the best things that he's ever done, higher than his U.S. Open win at Merion.
Which is crazy.
Right.
Wow.
But, I mean, you know, what happened to Ricky Fowler? He played in it. He got the Olympic rings tatted up.
Yep.
I mean, you know, the ability to play for your country in the Olympics, and it's so great to see golf back in it and all these players embracing it. Now, there's still quite some that aren't going over there just because of the COVID rules.
Because of the whole thing, right?
You know,
What's
the
going
pandemic and whatnot. But I really enjoyed the Olympics, both on the men and the women's side when it was in Brazil. Did you watch any of that, either one of you?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either.
Kind of you guys might disagree with me on this, but I think the Olympics should just strictly be amateur athletes. You know, we've had this conversation. Obviously, you wouldn't have the dream team of the basketball team for professional stuff, but I just think, you know, I'm going to watch it, and I think it's neat. But at the same time, there's a part of me that's kind of like the Olympics lost a little bit of its luster to me when it started allowing professionals. You know, weightlifting and wrestling are the only two events left that do not allow professionals. So I'm going to actually work to try to make.
Can we Google that?
Right. I mean, so there's professional weightlifters.
Olympic wrestling team. I think I'm correct on that. Google that, Tig.
All right, I got you.
Well,
I'm looking at it.
What was you going to have to say about that, Tig?
He threw me off. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about professional weightlifters right now.
I see Joey
Hulk
doing
Hogan out
sumo
there.
wrestling. When he said that, Joey, I had you doing sumo wrestling over in Japan, dude, trying to qualify for the team.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Tig. I can barely hear you, Tig.
No, all good.
No, oh my gosh, man. I mean, I you know, to that point, I certainly understand it, but the professional and amateur thing went out the window a long time. Now, and it's about ready to go out even further with the all the rules that are coming to college athletes, which is, you know, going to be great. But to me, I mean, I just think that this tournament. Go ahead, T.
All right, so Joey was close.
All right.
There's two sports that do not allow professionalism, and that is wrestling and boxing.
Oh, really?
Boxing. Okay, all right.
Really?
Yeah.
Boxing. I knew that.
That's it. But that's
I
pretty.
guess because they're pros. I mean,
yeah, man, that's interesting.
Boxing. Yeah.
Wow.
I said weightlifting, but I knew it was boxing. But hey, look, how many times have I screwed up?
Hey, the wrestling made sense.
Another week of that.
Well, I mean, you know, you're being polite now because there's no F-bombs being. I mean,
That's
so
right.
you know, you're an improved looper right now.
Yeah, I did say the word damn earlier. Now,
Oh, that's all right. I said piss poor. So I mean, you know, we could. I still got you in a white like diaper wrestling for the sumo team, Joe.
There you go.
I keep eating these Krispy Kremes, and it won't be long.
There you
before that
go. So let's talk about the historic moment for Justin Thomas. I mean, let's just kind of go back for the men's side. I mean, you know, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, and Bryson DeChambeau,
Right.
Brooksy himself. That's a good squad. You know, they don't go over there and play as a team, so there's no team competition. It's all individual.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, out of those four, who do you like? Who's going to be the best? Well, I know who you're picking, Teague.
You know, I don't know. That's a great question. I think on that stage, for whatever reason, I'm liking Morikawa.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going Justin.
Look, trust me, I'd love to see Justin. How cool would that be for Louisville for him to bring back a gold medal?
Oh, it'd be unbelievable.
Tig took my pick. I'm taking Morikawa. So
you know, out of those four, I'm definitely going Justin, and the reason why is just the passion and everything that he has displayed at his experience. at his appearances on the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup.
He's got to get that putting down, though, man.
Going into it, I mean, I think that's been what's holding him back. I mean, this year, and it's, he's working hard with a putting coach, John Graham, who's a guy, has Kentucky connections. He was actually a assistant golf professional, and he's like one of the hierarchies.
I thought he worked with Killian.
Yeah, well, he's certified Killian. Basically, John Graham was an assistant professional at Arlington way back in the day, was on the same board that him and I served together.
Gotcha.
And he works with Mark Sweeney on this Aim Point Golf, which, and so he's Justin Thomas's putting coach. And so there's been a lot of changes that are being made. But I'll say this about John. All of his guys end up proving to turn that thing over and roll that rock. And
is aim point the deal that you do with your feet?
No. Well, yeah, you feel it with your feet.
You feel it with your feet.
And then you measure it with your fingers and you calibrate the break. And the great thing about aim point is it truly puts you on the high side of the hole and gives you an opportunity to make it if you understand it to a T.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is a great
so you would promote somebody getting into that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we teach it over at the Golf Academy. We probably don't teach it enough, but it teaches people how to read a green, and definitely is something that I think that Justin will just start going at it. I mean, Justin's always made putts.
Well, that was what set him apart when he was younger.
Right.
His short game.
Right. And his wedge game overall was what really said. But I mean, the reason why he always made putts is because he was wedging it to 5 feet.
Right.
Right. And so, he's definitely by PGA Tour standards now. I mean, I guess you would have to say he's classified as a streaky putter.
Yeah, and right now he is.
I mean, wouldn't that be fair? Would you say that, Joey?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but like you said about his short game was some of the best on tour.
Right.
I hate to see him struggling with his putt. I think he needs to go to the Joey Sears, Billy Mayfair cut stroke.
Cut.
And
stay away from that.
Well, but I'll tell you what, you hit on something a minute ago that's very important. Green reading is a skill. And, when you learn how to read greens, obviously your putting improves.
Which goes to, I mean, it goes to the PGA Tour. Well, to that point, Joey, it goes to the PGA Tour outlawing and banning the green reading books now. And Roy McIlroy has said, hey, some guys are good at it, some guys aren't. Some guys work on it, some guys don't. He's like, this is a skill.
About speed and skill when it comes to reading green.
Well, take a stab at where he's at in stroke gain on putting.
Oh, for the year?
Putting?
Yep, for
36.
the year.
36.
I'm going to say he's probably at the back half of it. No, I would say 96.
It's 104th.
Yeah. I didn't want to throw him.
That's tough.
I didn't want to throw him up there, but
that's tough to compete when you're that low.
It is tough to compete, but I mean, he's playing at
guess who's number one?
Kasamagasaki Golf Club. He's going to be able to just kill this golf course. Number one in strokes gained putting. Man, I'm going to tell you John Rahm.
Louis Oosthuizen.
And he missed so many putts at the PGA Championship.
That?
Really? Where's John Rahm ranked?
Rahm is... That's a great question.
I'm just saying John Rahm just because he made those 2 bombs.
He's 67th.
Okay.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Well, these guys get the strokes gain is a great number. Obviously, it's a very big number. But, I mean, in relative to scoring, them being able to hit the driver and have their attention and have their strokes gain focus on that, each player is going to be their own. I mean, and so I may be a great putter and I pay attention to that. But if I'm a, 320-yard leader and I'm in the top 10 on the strokes gain from the driver, I want to stay in that category.
Yeah, but Louis at the top at all of the.
He's had a great year.
All of the kind of the major, like total putting, all the major putting stats, he's at the top.
Wow. I'm still going with Justin Thomas getting this thing, settled, and I think that his experience on the President's Cup team and the Ryder Cup team is going to be something that kind of separates him as he moves forward. And I certainly hope to see him at the top with a gold medal, bringing that back to the United States. I mean, with England winning it the first time, I mean, it's deserved that we need it. And so is Justin Rose, Justin Thomas, my 2 guys.
Yeah. Now, Justin Rose is in it, right? I'm assuming.
don't know who's on the English side. I think Paul Casey
he's not.
is.
He's not.
Paul Casey. They probably only get like 2 spots, and so there's
Yeah. So the most outside the United States is 2.
right.
And there's several countries with 2.
I think everybody is like only guaranteed 2 spots, but the top, so and so players in the world.
But you can only get 4.
Right. You can have no more than 4. So if you had 200, of the top 200 or whatever. But let's go, Justin. I mean, what a historic moment for Louisville. What a historic moment for Kentucky golf. Continuing our, and you see it with all the junior tours that are going on and the development. All of these kids are playing. They take it on the road. They travel. Kentucky kids can ball out on top of the leaderboard for sure.
I think Fleetwood's taking Justin Rose's spot.
I like Tommy.
That's what it looks like.
I like Tommy. We got Joey on here
And
still?
Paul Casey and Fleetwood.
Joey on here? No.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just listening.
All right, there you go, baby. What do you got to say? Anything more about the Olympics?
I obviously not too much.
Do you know anything? Do you know anybody that ever caddied at Kamasuiaki Golf Club?
No,
Do we know anything about that
know
course
how to get
period?
Huh? Kamasuiaki? Heck yeah, we know something about that course.
right.
You want me to drop knowledge on that? I got to save
curious.
that.
I'm
I
curious.
got to say, check back in a couple
All right.
months when we have a major sponsor for
There you
Kamasuiaki
go.
Club in the top. Well, let's move on to to important things.
Fantasy golf.
Oh yeah, let's talk some fantasy golf. I mean, last week not being able to share the picks. You know who I had last week, and I think I texted you. Oh, I had Harris English and Kramer Hickok. Mm-hmm.
1 and 2.
With that, no, I did not. But I mean, that would have been the week that I would have shared with everybody.
Yeah.
But this week, the Rocket Mortgage Classic played at Detroit Golf Club, a Donald Ross designed course. Interesting, some history about that place. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Bryson DeChambeau in the field as the defending champion.
And he's the top pick.
Yeah, right. This is where he came and he just let the world know that he was Happy Gilmore.
Yep.
Last year. I mean, it kind of came off COVID. It was one of the first tournaments that he played in. He had already swollen up to 500 pounds.
Yeah.
And he was hitting like 450 yards. And let the world know. Matt Wolff played well there last year too.
Yep.
He was in the top 5, but it's a par 72 golf course that is only 6,900 yards. Old Donald Ross course. Some benders right, some benders left. These guys fly over everything. But should be a good golf tournament.
And so I'm going to take our picks and I'm going to play them via fantasy, and I'm going to let everybody know how we do.
There you go.
I haven't done that yet, which is stupid, but I'm going to actually do it this time. So we'll see what happens.
This is what we're going to start doing.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start doing things that make sense around here. Loopers for life.
Right.
So you want to share first, or Joey? Joey,
go ahead.
You want to dip in?
No, go ahead, Tig. I'm still looking through
You're making your picks right now.
All right,
hey,
so,
let me say one thing about this place that I found, like when in some of my research. I'm going to drop a name, Alex Ross. You know
Why?
who he is?
No.
He is Donald Ross's younger brother.
What?
Yeah, he was a head professional at this place. After the Don came over, built the 36-hole thing, and said, "Hey, guess what? You're hiring my brother." But
what's he do?
well, he was a 31-year head professional here.
Oh, so
back
he's
in
the pro?
So I didn't even know that he had a little brother that was a professional. And then the second, because I was like, well, maybe this guy built golf courses, but he was a player. He is the U.S. Open champion, 1907. Came across from Scotland.
I'm confused. Are you saying somebody's playing in this tournament this week?
No, I'm just saying that
No,
he's
this guy's dead.
this guy. This guy
Okay.
died in 1952, man.
Gotcha.
No, don't be confused.
I mean, we're
I'm
picking
talking about
fantasy picks
Alec
here.
Ross.
All right.
All right. I'm sorry, man. It's a Donald Ross. If it's a Donald Ross golf course, I'm kind of like Joey at a Pete Dye golf
I just
course.
put in
I'm
Ross
just
in the
hyped.
DraftKings. I couldn't find him. So, all right.
I just get hype. It's kind of like you at Pete Dye, isn't that right, Joe?
That's right. I get hyped.
all
All kinds of
right.
crazy-
Let me
all kinds of
go
crazy stuff.
because you guys. I'm not going to steal anybody's pick here. I don't think so. All right. Number 1, Kyle Stanley, and I'm thinking that this is a tournament you got to hit the ball straight
Yes.
because that's kind of what I'm picking here.
You're right.
So,
right.
Kyle Stanley's number 1 pick. Kevin Kisner, who obviously is straight down the middle.
Great
He's
play.
he's number 2, and then here is your long shot, Austin Eckbrot. Play him. He's going to make the cut.
That's Austin Eckler. I have no idea who that is.
He played at
but
Oklahoma
you said
State.
play him, and you're playing him.
Play him.
I love it.
He's
I
going to
mean,
make the cut. He's a value guy for you. I think he's very at the bottom as far
Right.
as the money you've got to spend on him. Take him.
Well, I think that, you talk about you got to hit it straight. And this is a golf course that where if you can, all Donald Ross golf courses, you need to play from the fairway. If you've
Yep.
ever played a Donald Ross golf course, your best serve from the fairway 20 yards further back than hacking it out of the rough. Unless your name's Bryson DeChambeau, which he kind of flipped the script on that last year.
Yeah, he did.
But I do think that, someone who's hitting a lot of fairways and somebody who's hitting a lot of greens that are in the top half of the field on strokes gain on there, going to be some power play. So you had Kisner,
Stanley, Eckroth.
Joe, go ahead with it.
All right, my man. I'm going with Jason Duffner.
Whoa.
Wow.
Matthew Wolf
I like Wolf.
and McGirt. I'm going with this McGirt guy.
Dirt McGirt.
Oh, wow.
Dirt, whatever his first name
Those
is.
are some power plays right there. So you're going to go
William
across
McGirt.
the river, too, on your way over. You're going to hit that sports book, and you're going to play these?
Well,
I think it's William
I'm going-
McGirt.
yeah.
Or Willie.
Yeah,
Is it
Dirt
William-
McGirt.
is
It's
it
Dirt
William
McGirt.
McGirt?
I like
He's-
that.
He's got a new caddy who talks a bunch of political crap on Twitter.
Oh, there you go.
And I think this is just a hunch.
Is that
These are all just
Kip
hunches.
Henley? Is that who's?
Yeah, I think Kip's caddying for him.
Oh,
I'm not
awesome,
Kip
man.
may have already Kip may have already gotten fired. Who knows? But
For a Twitter
he-
post.
yeah, but I'm rooting for Duffner just because I really want to see Duffner start actually winning again. And then of course I
like Duffner.
I gotta root for Wolf because with a swing like that, man, how can you not root for that guy?
Right. Well, those are that's
Swing
awfully
like
solid
that,
right there. It's awfully solid. Well, I tell you what, on the power play on the top land, I'm going to throw out the Masters champion Hideki Matsuyama coming back into form. He's a guy that has played here the last couple of years at the top half of the leaderboard. So I think he had a T13 the
Good
first
pick.
year, and then a T21, and he's definitely trending. His game's he's got the postmaster month and a half, 2 months that you probably have moving through. And then, I'm going to pick out another one. I'm going to go with Jacqueline. No, actually, I'm going to change that. I'm going Will Zalatori.
Ooh.
I'm going to go, and the reason
dude
why,
got
T,
game, man.
the reason why, I mean, not only does he have game, but I mean, again, he's in the top 20 of the strokes game from the tee,
Yep.
as well as from into the green. So, again, a guy who can hit irons here.
He's
is-
expensive.
Who Will is?
Mm-hmm.
Is he really?
Yeah,
So he would
he's
be
at the high
my.
end.
So I can't have him.
No, you could take him. You could take him and Matsuyama, but you're gonna have to take
Then
some
I
lower
spent.
guys with him.
Well, then I'm going to take one other lower guy, and he probably is in the middle of the pack, and that's Webb Simpson playing well this week. And the reason why I like Weber, he's coming fresh off of a miscut at the U.S. Open, but playing again. He's had a very solid season, and he is a North Carolina boy. And guess where all Donald Ross golf courses are?
Okay,
In
hold on.
North Carolina, South Carolina.
So this guy's going to play well just because it's a Donald Ross course. I say he's going to be at the top half of the leaderboard throughout the week.
And I tell you, he's made 12 of 14 cuts. So the guy,
he's had a great year this year.
He,
Great year this
what
year.
was it like 2 years ago? He was. I mean, I thought the guy was going to dominate on tour. The guy,
Well,
was
yeah.
fair-
yeah.
He
2 or 3.
he's had a great run. Like, I mean, if you really look at it, his U.S. Open and Olympic may have been a fluke a little bit. Jim Furyk really was the hero of that tournament, but he's made a great run. And like you said, Joe, I remember that too. He almost did win everything. Did he win the tour championship that year?
Yeah, he was. I mean, the guy couldn't miss a fairway. He was
He
like
didn't.
the
I don't
straightest.
think he did.
Hit more fairways. I don't think he won the tour championship, but he
I think it was,
won a bunch.
Yeah, I think it was
And-
the year Justin won it.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah.
But
So
Webb Simpson was. I mean, he was a name that you were just kind of like you heard, and then all of a sudden he just disappeared.
So you just took the third, the fourth, and the fifth most expensive people in it.
So I got no more money.
So, yeah, I don't. Let me see.
So,
I'm
who-
curious if you could even do it.
Can
Hold
I?
on.
Can I? I probably couldn't do that.
Let's see. Let's
Yeah.
go. We'll take Simpson,
No, I
Matsuyama, Zalatoris.
I need to look. So you're
So-
saying I need to look deeper in the field.
Yeah, you've got all right.
Maybe
So
you
you
go
got
with this. You need to go with this Gim guy, whoever the hell that is. Ghim.
no.
I'm
Hey,
sure
Doug
he's
Gim can play.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
I
but
took
he's
Doug
probably
Gim
cheap.
earlier in the year, and he did well.
You know who? Well, I could sit here and make up names, and I'm not going to
Go
do
with
that.
KJ Choi. He's the most hated guy on the tour.
Hey, So,
He's-
so Joey took the cheapest guy in the event and Duffner, so you can go with him if you like. He knows what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, I think you ought to play like one of. You just pick your like to all fantasy players out there. Just pick one from each of us, and you're
There you
probably
go.
going to be good.
Let's
Now,
see,
you got to
but
figure
you gotta
out
pick
which
the right one.
Yeah, you got to pick it right, especially with me because I'm going to name drop 20 of them.
Right.
So I mean, I'm saving
Well-
all my like when I name drop 20 players, which I also name dropped Sergio Garcia for the U.S. Open. He
You did.
played really well, made the cut. I mean, all my guys made the cut over there at the U.S. Open. I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but I mean, definitely need to look deeper in the field. I will start coming up with sleeper plays. That's
You
gonna be
gotta
mine.
have to because you
I will
just took
come
the
up.
favorites, man.
Huh?
You just took the three
I
of the
didn't
5
take
favorites.
Bryson DeChambeau. He's the favorite.
He is a favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I took Hideki Matsuyama, who won the green jacket.
He was
and-
fifth. Simpson was
So-
third.
because
Who did-
everybody
who did
knows
I
he's from
take?
North Carolina.
Go ahead,
Who did
Joey.
I take that was the cheapest player? McGirt?
No, Duffner's below McGirt.
It's
really?
unbelievable.
Damn,
It's
boy.
unbelievable. I hope he gets it right. I definitely.
McGirt's only $100 more than him, so he's down there too. Joey's taking the bottom of the
I
barrel
love
here.
it.
Man, I'm telling you, man.
That's the old
Well,
Looper
I just
experience.
sent you all. I just sent you all a text with my Open Championship pick, so you see where I stand.
I love it.
I bet that twice.
Uh,
So, all right.
bet
So,
one-
Josh, which one of Joey's guys are you taking to put with your top end guys?
Duffner. I'm taking the biggest name out of that.
We're going
I'm not
Duff.
taking the guy. Who did you at the bottom end? Who'd you pick?
Austin Eckrott. You need
Let's
to listen
all
to me.
remember Austin Eckrott. All right. I mean, we will have a show dedicated to Austin Eckrott.
Austin Eckrott.
Uh,
Hey, all right. Now, hold on. So
I
you
want to have a
got-
show
no.
dedicated to that guy, Teague. If he wins this week, I mean, we are finding him as our first guest. At some point in time, we're going to have guests. At some point in time,
Austin Eckrott's going to be a guest.
yeah. At some point in time, we're playing all of our picks.
There you go.
So I mean, let's forget the fantasy. Let's just take it over to the book over there. Let's
Hey,
take
this
it to
dude
the,
would be pumped,
Let's take it to
man.
French
I
Lick.
bet you nobody's ever bet on Austin Eckrott before. He'd probably pay us back if he doesn't make the cut.
That's right.
I don't even think he shows up on the thing when you go to betting.
He does, man. He's here. I'm telling
You
you.
better
He's
bet him,
just cheap.
Joey. You better bet him. You know that's coming in from hot from the block
That's
right,
right.
there, bro.
You better bet him.
You
Put-
better
Put
bet him.
$10 on him, Joey.
You better
I'm
bet him.
crossing the bridge. I'm crossing the bridge right now.
I
I'm
got
gonna go
5
bet.
on it right there, bro. Well, hey, again, thanks to everybody for listening. Loopers for Life. This is Game 11. We're going to keep this moving forward. We got some interesting topics upcoming. Some point in times we are going to have some guests. Some point in time, Teague, we will have sponsors
Oh, yeah.
for this.
Oh, yeah.
And, and ultimately be on the look for some of our media that's going to come out on this.
Well, let me say this,
Yeah,
Josh.
please.
If you are a company, a golf store, some sort of golf service that thinks that we are getting this in front of the right demographic for you, we'd love to talk to you because
Right.
there's some sponsorship opportunities. We'll show you our numbers. There's some really good opportunities for you to really push your message to the right demo.
Right.
You'd be crazy not to jump on this
Well,
opportunity.
and again, with what you do, that's kind of what you do at
It
Talgrace
is.
Marketing and
It is.
Media, and I mean, and that's a big part of who you are and how we have gotten this production studio. But also too, I mean, look for us to make the jump to some of these podcast arenas. And when we jump into that arena, Teague, we're going to be more ready than anybody
Oh, yeah,
else.
for sure.
Joey, we need you back in the studio, but we can wait. As long as you keep going across the river and putting those bets in
Make our
over at
bets.
French Lick right there. One
Yeah.
of the great places, and hopefully everybody can make it up to French Lick this week to Symmetric Tour and
Definitely.
see some of those girls play this weekend.
Yeah. And
So-
if I hit any of these bets, I will be the sponsor of
If
our.
you,
There you
hey,
go.
if you do not play this Alex kid, I'm going to be really upset because I got 5 on it, bro.
Austin,
Alex, Andrew,
Austin Eckrott.
Ekrod. Put him on there for me, man.
Austin Eckrott.
Yo, let's roll this out.
I'm totally reaching out to him
Hey,
via Twitter.
and
We're
when
gonna
you
get him
sponsor this, Joey, I'm getting a turntable so I can go.
Hey, listen, I just want to let you know to all the sponsors, anybody thinking about sponsoring this, I promise I went to counseling. There will be no F-bombs.
Oh, there you go.
But if I sponsor it, I get to say whatever.
Whatever you want.
Ah, that's right. Let's go. All right, we'll see y'all. Thank you.